welcome in. You are listening to episode 21 of the St0ner Sports Radio Podcast. We will dive into the NBA trade deadline, major news coming across the ticker feed late on a Wednesday night. We will take a dip into the NFL as Super Bowl Sunday is upon us, and we will give you our bets for the game, why, and we have a couple prop bets I've got lined up for us to take a gander at, and then we will take a look around our locks of the week and the St0ner Sportsbook. Joining me, as usual, is Mr. Murphy. How are we doing today?
Doing good. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah, it's a big day for Philadelphia fans and people in Pennsylvania everywhere as they watch tonight's Super Bowl. So let's kind of touch on that. Let's just open up with that. So last week we had we had our bets for this game, and we both took Philadelphia. Let's kind of expand a little bit more on that, why we chose Philadelphia, and kind of where exactly our confidence lies within the Eagles. So I'm going to give the floor to you first and tell me why you're going with the Eagles tonight.
I like the Eagles primarily because of their offense. I think their offense is really high-powered with all their receiving core is really solid, and I think this is Jalen Hurts' year as well. That's one of my main reasons for the pick. He has a big factor to do with the offense. I mean, him at quarterback with all his weapons, if the O-line can step up, I mean, I think the Eagles, it's going to be a close game, and
it's going to be close, but I think with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, he's going to drive them down the field, and they're going to end up getting that last-minute score or set them up for a last-minute field goal. So that's just my main pick. And then the Eagles' defense is not bad either. So, I mean, when you got a really good offense and then your defense is pretty solid, it's going to be a close game, and it's going to come down to coaching. I think they're great coaching on each side, but I think the playmaker is in that quarterback. And don't get me wrong, Mahomes is an elite, and he is the best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. But I just think this is Hurts' year. I think he deserves one, and I think it's his time to prove everybody that he's elite, and he is the quarterback of the future for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean it's hard for me to go against that. I think those are pretty good points. I mean, look, I mean this Kansas City team, I mean they're not bad. I mean that's the thing about it is I mean Travis Kelce, probably one of the greatest tight ends we'll see in a long time. I mean him, Gronk, Jason Witten, all those boys have kind of defined an era where the tight ends have been kind of utilized a little bit more than we're accustomed to seeing on the NFL level. And I think that their connection is something that the defense for Philadelphia is really got to hone in on. There have been moments this season where Philadelphia's defense hasn't looked great, but let me tell you, this Kansas City back end is not great either. These safeties and corners for Kansas City, not that they're bad, but that's definitely their weak spot as well as Philadelphia. So I expect a lot of yards to be thrown. One of the bets that's flying around here, and this isn't one of them that I picked, but one of them was whether Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for over 300 yards in this game. And a lot of people are taking the under because in the last two Super Bowls that he's played in, he's gotten 286 and 279. So he hasn't hit that 300-yard mark passing the football in the two Super Bowls he's been in. But I think this one kind of is set up for him to kind of probably break that 300-yard threshold. I don't think Philadelphia's defense is going to be good enough to stop the air attack because I think they're going to make them throw the football. You have to look at Philadelphia's front seven. They got one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. They've got a good linebacking core, so running the ball is going to be hard. And we know with Kansas City, I mean, Pacheco's okay. I mean, but he's not going to wow you. They don't really have anything in the running back, room that really scares a lot of defenses. So I think that you have that kind of edge to Philadelphia with probably keeping Kansas City one-dimensional. I mean, what are your thoughts on how both of these quarterbacks are going to perform and kind of like where you kind of see their numbers lying and what kind of game you're expecting?
I think it is going to be a high scoring, not like super high 40s or something like that, but I could definitely see it getting into the late 20s, maybe early 30s. So we could see somewhere like a 34-28 game, something like that.
Yeah.
Something close, something like mid-high scoring. But, I mean, I think Mahomes is going to air it out a lot. I think that the run game on both sides. I don't think Mike Sanders or Plaxico or the running back for KC. I don't think that he's going to bust open anything huge either. So I think this is going to come down to passing. I think both teams are going to be airing the ball out a lot, but there's a lot of weapons on each side for passing. So I could definitely see. I would take the over for the 300 because I think Mahomes is definitely going to be airing the ball out a lot. But same with the Eagles, like they're going to be passing the ball a lot. Like Devontae Smith, Zach Ertz, like all those weapons they have. Like even though Mike Sanders is a good running back, that's why they've been doing so well this season is because they've been able to air the ball out so much and get all those passing touchdowns. So I expect to see the same here today.
Yeah, I mean, Miles Sanders has been good. AJ Brown's
Yeah,
still out there as a weapon as well.
right.
His over under on catches is 8. I think he probably doesn't catch 8 balls. I
Over.
think we probably get 6. I think
Okay,
Devontae Smith is going to be the guy tonight. I think
that's
I
what I'm
think I
thinking.
think
That's what I'm
that's
thinking.
look.
Yeah,
I mean, if
yeah,
anybody's going to
for
take
sure.
the the MVP if the Eagles win from Jalen Hurts, it's probably Devontae Smith.
I could see that.
I think he's kind of the secret here because I think he's the best wide receiver on that field. Like, I mean, I'm saying wide
True.
receiver. I mean, Travis Kelsey probably the best, actual receiver that's on the field as far as
Mm,
consistency and who Patrick Mahomes is looking for first on third down. I mean, and the thing that just amazes me is how he gets open with like nobody around him, like within 10 yards. We talked about this
yeah,
when
right.
before the Cincinnati game. I was just like, how does he keep getting wide open? Like Cincinnati has to know that he's somebody
Yeah,
that they need to hone in on. And sure enough, several times in that game, 5 yard cushion with no one around, giving him that extra 6 or 7 yards of just him running, after the
yeah,
catch on like a little curl route, like out of that tight end, just I mean, it's amazing how open he gets because it just seems to me like
yeah,
if I'm playing defense, like, you know, I feel like I would always have somebody locked in on his
yeah,
ass, but I just feel like nobody ever is. But maybe that's because of play design. Maybe you have 3 wide receivers to one side of the field, and your defense is honing in on not letting those 3 guys go deep, and so they allow the short stuff, and he just happens to catch all the short stuff, and
yeah,
by that time the receivers are 20 yards down the field with the rest of the defense, and you have a giant cushion for yards after the catch. So I mean, I think it's just one of those things where it's either really good play design by Andy Reid or it's just the fact that he's just so good, he's just open, which I just find really hard to believe. I mean,
yeah,
no offense to him, it's just like I don't see anybody else being that wide open, that plays that
yeah.
position. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Kelsey's really quick. Like he's got really nice burst off the ball, especially if he's gonna be in a route running situation. He's a really good route runner, so he's quick and a good route runner, which only equals getting open. So I mean, I think that's one of his best things. But I mean, like I was saying with both head coaches, there's great head coaches on each side, so I'm expecting to see a double team tonight. I think that they have a linebacker jamming Kelsey, and then they have kind of like the free safety over the top of him because of how lethal he is within that 5 to 10 yard range. Because as soon as he comes off the ball, with how quick Mahomes can get the ball out, expect to see a lot of that linebacker jamming and that free safety coming down hard tonight. So, um, yeah, he's very good at that. But I mean, I think he's going to get double teamed tonight.
He better. I mean, and if they do, they better do it well, because I
Yeah,
mean, here's the other thing that I'm thinking about is the pass rush for Philadelphia has to be there, right?
yeah,
And we talk about all the time how when you give a quarterback a good pocket, especially in the NFL, you're pretty much guaranteeing a completion 9 times out of 10.
right.
I mean, but with the defensive line that Philadelphia has, if you
Hmm.
can get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands faster than he would like, you're going to leave yourself with a lot of opportunities for open field tackles for short gains, right? I mean, because he's going to be
Yeah.
dumping it off to the back, or he's going to be dumping it off to the guy that's sitting there like on a screen waiting on the sideline when
Hmm.
everybody's deep. And sure, you might get a first down or two out of those because of a missed tackle, but I mean, defenses are going to prefer that opposed to you having 3 seconds to throw the ball and having a guy that runs a 4.40 go sprinting down a sideline, and just cooking
Right.
your corner or whatever. I mean, because it happens. I mean, this is the NFL. I mean, this is these
Yeah.
these are the best of the best, and so I mean, you're gonna get cooked if you leave a guy open for if you're having to go a
True.
full sprint with a guy for 3 seconds and then you don't even know where he's going. As a defender, I mean, you're already at a loss here.
It
Um,
happens.
so I mean, you're gonna have to have a really good pass rush against this team because and the other thing is it's so hard to guard Kelsey because he likes to faux block and then he releases. And I think that
Yeah.
also throws defenses off because it's like, oh, you know,
True.
he's not even out for a pass and boom, he pops out. But I don't think
Yep.
they're gonna have time. I think that's gonna be a thing. I don't think they're gonna have time for those. They might do a tight end screen. I'm not
Mhm.
opposed to that happening because of the rush. I mean, use the aggressiveness against them. I get that. But I think
Mhm.
that pass rush is gonna really allow for more short gains. I don't think we're going to see a chance for a lot of deep balls. He'll probably get a couple in there. I mean, it's bound to
Yeah.
happen, but I don't think that it's going to be as prevalent as it was against Cincinnati. I don't think he's going to have a lot of time to get that off. And Cincinnati's pass rush is okay, but they're nothing like this pass rush for Philadelphia. I mean, Ndamukong Suh. I
Mhm.
mean, all those boys up front. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're big time, and they're the best defensive line we've seen since the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense back in that 2002 Super Bowl, where they just bullied the
Right.
shit out of Rich Gannon and the top passing offense in the NFL. I mean, it was a bully
Yeah.
job, and they just blew out the Raiders. You just can't. I mean, which is why a lot of people are taking Philly. Is I think it's because of the defensive front seven. I think that's the main
Yeah.
reason. Is you're expecting them to shut down Mahomes to a degree where Jalen Hurts should be able to take over. My concern is turnovers. If Jalen Hurts throws a
Mhm.
couple picks in the first half, I mean that
Yeah.
could be kind of sussy. I mean, look, we saw Trevor Lawrence throw 4 and they still won, but that's the Chargers. I mean, we can't really compare apples and oranges here with the Chargers and Kansas City Chiefs. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think 2 turnovers from Jalen Hurts would really hurt Philadelphia. And
Yeah.
he's been in big games. Like, I mean, he's been in the college football playoff with Alabama, been in the college football playoff with Oklahoma. Like,
Yep.
he's only lost 1 game his whole entire college career. I mean, he's been in the limelight. He knows what it takes.
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about the nerves. I'm worried about whether or not Kansas City uses his inexperience against him. I mean, this is the biggest game of his career so far, and it's
Yeah. He's ever
coming
played
very
in.
early. It's coming very early. Was it year 3? It's
Yeah.
very early. And remember when people were saying when they traded for Gardner Minshew, the Jalen Hurts era is over. They're done with Jalen Hurts. Like the experiment didn't
Yeah.
work. Tough nipples. I mean, and now look, it's like you're
Typical.
if you were to have Gardner Minshew come into this game. I think Philadelphia fans would be a little more tight butthole than they would be having Jalen Hurts back there. Not
Yeah.
that Gardner's
He'll be
bad.
scared.
You saw him play very
Yeah.
well against Dallas's defense, and they had a pretty good defense this season. So, I mean, I wouldn't be too
Mhm.
worried about Gardner coming in, but I'm sure that you would rather have Jalen Hurts back there because
Yeah.
he gives you that mobility. And that's kind of another
Right.
thing where it's like we know Patrick Mahomes is coming off that sprained ankle. It's been 2 weeks. He's had a lot of time to rehab. Jalen Hurts has the shoulder thing going on. He's probably 80% in the shoulder. Patrick Mahomes probably 85% in the ankle. I mean, that's good enough for me. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's all you can really ask for is in those high 80s as far as health goes for those guys. We saw how Patrick looked against Cincinnati with the bum ankle when he was probably at 70%. Still looked pretty good. I mean, it was
Mhm.
obviously bothering him, but he didn't look like he was really straining to make, throws. And the ones where he was, the receivers made great plays on the ball and made it look like
Yeah.
it wasn't a problem. And I think that's another thing
Right.
that Philadelphia's going to have to worry about is just their receivers are not namesake good. I mean, you got Juju, you got Travis, but I'm saying like Adarius Toney,
Yeah.
you're
Who
not,
else?
you don't really have anybody else that in the living
Yeah.
room people are going to be like, oh yeah, that guy, but they're
No.
good
Yeah.
enough
Exactly.
to make him look good, is what I'm saying. They're good enough to make those
Yeah.
adjustments and make Patrick look good. Um, and the other thing I have that's a problem with Philly is the competition, right? They really haven't been tested this playoffs, right? I mean, you play the 49ers, but
Yeah.
they go all the way down to their fourth string quarterback, and you don't
Right.
really get a threat from the
That's
49ers
true.
offense without Brock Purdy being able to throw with his whole entire right arm being completely gone. I mean,
Can we look at both? This is kind of like a little off.
yeah,
Like just a quick. I want to look at both their team schedules just down like a quick, uh, like how they did this year because I know they both have 3 losses. So I was
yeah.
trying to
So
see where their
here's, yeah,
losses were at
I will open that for you. I got that pulled up right here. Um, let's go
because I know
ahead.
they lost to the Commander. At least the Eagles. They lost to the Commanders, and what was that? Who were the other 2 losses?
So Philadelphia goes 14-3 this year,
Yeah.
like you said. The 3 losses they had the Commanders 32-21.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
bullshit.
they had the Cowboys where Jalen Hurts didn't play 40-34,
Right.
and they lost to
Yeah,
the
that was also
Saints
bullshit.
20-10.
And I don't. What week was that?
Second to last week.
So they. Oh, the
Um,
Saints. That's probably kind of a bad
yeah, let
game.
me look at it. I'm pulling up the game stuff right now, just to see kind of what happened here. Oh yeah, Jalen Hurts didn't play in that game either.
Oh,
So
okay, because I was
It was
like,
another Gardner Minshew game. Gardner
that's
Minshew
why.
versus Andy Dalton, a thrilling quarterback matchup for you. So I mean, you can kind of throw two of those games out. The only game
Yeah,
that's really concerning is the Washington Commanders game,
Commanders.
really.
Yeah,
And
they almost won that game too. It was
it's 32 to
kind of
21.
late.
It was still a double-digit loss. Jalen Hurts had two
Yeah,
touchdowns and a pick with only 175. Taylor Heineke played great.
he
Um,
played out of his mind.
yeah, I mean, this game was 20 to 14 at halftime, and then Washington scored 12 points in the rest of the game, and Philly could only muster 7. Um,
It had to do with there was a couple turnovers, like you were saying, and I think you're definitely right. If Jalen Hurts, if those lights are too bright for him, like if he's having, I don't think they will be. I think he's locked in and ready. But if they're too bright and he has those few mistakes, Philly could really be in some hot water because they definitely don't need any turnovers from him at all.
yeah,
Because that's how they lost that Commanders game is he had a pick.
well, here's my question to you. So, like we said, two of those losses can't really say they count because Jalen Hurts didn't play.
Yeah.
So, looking at the Chiefs' schedule, they did
Hmm.
already, have a good thing going throughout most of the season. Now, week 3, they lost to the Colts, um, which the Colts ended up being absolutely terrible,
Yeah.
and that was mainly because of how well the Colts defense played. Uh, if we take a look at this game just in particularly. 20 to 17 was the final. Colts win by 3. Um, Matt Ryan drives the team down for the game-winning field goal. It was, it made people kind of believe that the Colts had a chance. I
Way
mean,
too early.
yeah, it was just a good game for Matt Ryan. I mean, these are professional athletes; they're going to have good games. Jonathan Taylor only had 71 yards on 21 carries that game, and
Not a lot.
Patrick Mahomes threw for 262 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, and was the leading rusher with only 26 yards. So, like I said, the rushing game really a problem for Kansas City most of the
Mhm.
season. The other two losses are to playoff teams, Bengals and Bills.
Mhm.
And both of those games were close. 24 to 20 loss to the Bills and a 24 loss to the Bengals. So both by 3
Yeah.
points, and all three of their losses by 3 points. So if you want to take that into consideration, that all three of their games combined, they've only lost by 9 points total.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Um, if you go through like close games, they barely beat the Broncos, barely beat the Texans, barely beat the Broncos twice. Both of those games were one possession games. Um, barely beat the Titans. Um, barely beat the Chargers.
Yeah.
Uh, barely beat the Buccaneers, and only beat the Raiders by a point. I mean, they've had some close
Yeah.
calls with teams that aren't really on their level either. So I think
Right.
that concerns me a little bit more because Philly doesn't really have that. If you look at Philly's schedule, they don't really have a lot of close games where they're keeping bad teams uh, close with them. You take a look here. I'll go back to some of their wins. 31 to 7 against the 49ers, 24 to 8 against the Commanders the first time, 24 to 7 against the Vikings. These are not close games. You want to call the Cowboys game a close
Yeah.
game? They still won by 9. Which other game was
Right.
close? Okay, the Colts game. See, the Colts are playing team stuff. They only beat them by a point, but that's one game. Packers by 7.
Right.
Okay, there's 2 games. I mean, and if you count the Giants game at the end of the year, 22-16, that's 3 games. But the Giants are a
Mhm.
playoff team. Um, the Cowboys are a playoff team, and the
Mhm.
Colts. They were just kind of on the fringe of probably being a playoff team because they lost a ton of close games. So
Right.
you don't. I think the value of Philadelphia's wins kind of holds more merit to me than the value of
Mhm.
Kansas City's wins because Kansas City seems to be skating by, Philadelphia seems to be
Right.
dominating, and I think that that's going to
Yeah.
kind of why I think both of us are taking Philadelphia is because whether we know it or not, on paper and just talent wise, this team has been absolutely just screaming through opponents, and
Yeah.
and and it's just I don't have a lot of confidence in this pick, but the thing is the more I look at this schedule and the more I look at kind of the way this season has gone, everything just
Mhm.
kind of seems to tilt towards the Eagles just a little bit. And
Yeah, they do.
I mean, what is your take from the schedules? And kind of dissecting that as well. Does that kind of further instill confidence, or does that kind of make you go, well, anything can happen?
No, I agree. Kind of with what you were saying, but yeah, I think definitely with scheduling, I think the games were close, but I think the Eagles did have the advantage there by beating teams more than the Chiefs were doing. Even though I think the Chiefs, I mean, the Bengals and the Bills are no slouch, so
No.
that's always going to be a hard game. And
Yeah.
then if you look at the Eagles' schedule, they also did play another couple of good teams there with the Vikings and the Cowboys were good. So, I mean, this should be a close. Like I'm not really 100% confident either in this pick. I could definitely see the Chiefs winning as well. I would not be surprised. But I think you were right when you're saying this. Everything's leaning towards Philadelphia. I think everybody sees the potential they have to be this great team, and I think everybody's seeing that it's going to be an Eagles win. So that's where I'm putting my chips.
Yeah, but I mean,
For the Eagles,
fly Eagles fly. Um,
yeah,
so let's look at this through the other side of the lens, through Kansas City, right?
yeah,
So what they have to do, obviously, is just keep doing what they do offensively. Um,
mhm,
use the pass to set up, draw plays for the running back. Get that
right,
defense backed up, and then little delay handoff. Do whatever you do.
mhm,
They don't really have, like I said, a good running back room. It's pretty mid. It's above
yeah,
average, but it's not anywhere close to what we've seen in the past from Super Bowl teams. Same with Philly. They don't have. I mean, both of these running
yeah.
games are not super impressive. Um,
Do they still have? Does do the Chiefs still have? What is his name? Uh, he
McKinnon.
came not McKinnon. He's a smaller dude, smaller running back, and I can't think of his name. I think he came from LSU though.
Oh man. Let me look here. I
It
can.
was like Clyde Edwards.
Oh, Clyde Edwards Hilaire or something like that.
Yeah,
That
Hilaire.
guy.
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah.
So, but I can
Because I'm like,
look.
they have the however Pacho. I don't know how to
Pacheco.
Pacheco. I'm like,
Yeah,
I can never
Pacheco.
pronounce his name right. Yeah,
Um,
Pacheco, and then I'm like, who else do they have in their
here
running
we go.
game?
Here's
That's my
here's
question.
here's the running backs for you. I'll even look at the depth chart. That way we get it right here.
Yeah,
So depth chart wise, running backs, pulling it up, it's loading. Base 2-3 special teams. Where's the offense? Oh, here we go. Wide Isaiah Pacheco. They still have
Pacheco.
They still have McKinnon, and they still have Edwards Hilaire. So,
Oh, okay.
and Ronald Jones is the fourth one, which you won't really see Ronald Jones ever. But I mean, yeah, they got their first, second, and thirds right there. You know, as far as wide receiver goes, they got Juju, Marquez Valdez Scantling, Kadarius Toney, uh, and then Sky Moore and Justin Watson and Marcus Kemp are your six.
Yeah,
So I mean, yeah, but I
pretty
mean,
solid offense.
yeah, McKinnon doesn't do a bunch for me. Clyde Edwards-Helaire doesn't do a lot for me either.
No.
But like I said, the Philadelphia doesn't have much to counter that either. I don't even think they've got Boston Scott anymore, do they? I don't know if he's even healthy. Uh,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Miles Sanders seems to be the guy. Um,
Yeah.
Penn State alum. So Pennsylvania guy, living the dream. um,
No, literally.
he's kind of the Sam Hubbard of this team. Sam Hubbard, the Cincinnati boy making a huge play against Baltimore to win the game. It could be
Yeah.
Miles Sanders' night to win MVP. And you would get pretty good odds on that because I think a lot of
I
people would roll
relate.
with Jalen Hurts if he did win it because I think he kind of got snubbed with the NFL MVP. Just because
Yeah.
we know how good Patrick Mahomes is, but he's really been a surprise, and I think the voters just they made the right decision. Patrick Mahomes more talented, with the arm and stuff, but I think
Yeah.
that given what happened this season, I think he kind of deserved it, but I think that chip on his shoulder will kind of help. But yeah, so we're both
Yeah,
going with
definitely.
Philly, and that's
Yes,
kind of
sir.
where we're going to take it. So let's move into these prop bets, okay? This is where we get really fun. So we didn't really
Prop
have
bet.
any Stoner Sportsbook stuff to go over because we had already picked this game, and we're just kind of reiterating why we picked Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So let's go through some fun stuff. So coin toss. Right now the odds for tails is minus 101. So if you were to bet, no, that it's heads, you could win some money there if you were if
Interesting.
um what are your thoughts on that?
That's tough. I mean,
You going
that's a
heads or
50.
tails, brother?
That's a 50-50
Yeah,
ball right there. I
yeah.
don't know. What this might be a weird statistic, but what's the past like at
Okay,
least
so
10
so good
games?
news. I have this pulled up because I knew you were gonna ask
Okay,
that.
perfect.
Um,
Because I'm like, that's my deciding thing. Has it been heads or tails for like the past decade?
yeah. So uh, it's a meaningless bet that's fun to get out of the way early. Tails is 29 and 27 all time, so you're literally 50%. They're just two above 50%.
Wow, that's
While
crazy.
heads has hit in 4 out of the past 5 though. So it's been heads the last 4 out of 5 seasons, but tails never fails, Cole. I mean, you
Yeah, I
get.
know.
I mean,
I think I gotta stick with the heads here just because it's been 4 out of the 5. I think that's a good solid.
okay, so you're
Uh,
taking heads. Uh,
yeah.
so all right, so let me put that in here. So, I'm going
Sheesh.
heads too. We'll go heads. We'll go heads here with that as well. So I'll go.
I'm just sticking with the statistic. 4 out of the last 5 have been heads. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it.
All right, we're both going heads plus 101, so that could get you some money right there, ladies and germs. All right, here's another one. So there's going to be a score within the first 6 minutes of the first quarter. Right now it is no at minus 145.
Within the first 6 minutes of the first quarter.
Yeah, we have not seen a score in the first 6 minutes of any of the last 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I want
So I want to say yes. I think these
Yeah,
offenses are good enough.
I want to say yeah too because I think they're. I think yeah, I'm gonna say yes because I think both offenses, whoever gets the ball first, whatever team is gonna come out and score, and the other team's gonna come out and score right back. So I want to say yes actually,
All
just
right,
like
so
you were
yeah,
saying.
I'm gonna say yes too. I think, and that includes field goals too. That doesn't just include.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
good then.
mean,
Yeah, yeah.
but the last, but it's been kind of a slow starter the last couple years. Um, so here's another one for you. I got two more. Here's a second last one. The team who scores last will win. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, yes is at
No,
my
no, 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 no. Wait. Team that scores last will win.
yeah. So
Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yes is minus 210. It's a very popular choice. Um, and I don't. I mean, I'm not. It's hit in the last 9 straight Super Bowls. I mean, the last 9 winners have been the last team to score.
Yeah.
It's been very rare that a team is going in for a garbage touchdown to lose, the Super Bowl by 15 or something like that, with a minute
Right.
left or something. So yeah, we're going yes 210. I think it's yes. I mean, I think that's a pretty good bet. Now this one is big because I don't really know much about this one in the past. There have been multiple interceptions thrown in uh, of the last 4 Super Bowls. The last 4 we've had more than two or more interceptions. Right now, over 1.5 interceptions at uh, is no at plus 140. So they think it'll be less than 2 interceptions thrown in this game.
Yeah, I could see it's gonna be one on either side. It's either gonna be Mahomes or Hurts. It's gonna be one, I think.
Yeah, so you're going with the under. So under
Yeah,
under okay.
I can definitely see an interception. I think it's gonna be on one or either side, so it's not gonna be both.
I'm gonna go with yes. I think
Okay,
we're gonna have we're gonna have one each side. I think either that
fair
or
enough.
Jalen Hurts throws 2. I think that's kind of where I'm leaning. I think it's less likely that Patrick Mahomes throws 2 than Jalen Hurts does, just because inexperience and whatever. Not to say that
Yeah,
that won't cost them the game or anything, because we've seen teams with good defenses. If you turn the ball over deep in the other team's red zone and they still have to march 60 yards, I mean that gives your defense a lot of time. But if you're giving them the ball
right,
within your own 40-yard line, I mean you're at least guaranteeing a field goal attempt, most likely, barring penalties.
right.
So that's and that seems to cost you more, and putting that pressure on your defense with a short field usually ends up not working out. But I feel like he's more likely to throw an interception on Kansas City's side of the field instead of his own. Um, so there you go. Those are some of the prop bets.
I like them.
Um, I do have one more to go through at the end here, but those are the ones that I've got that are serious. You can actually bet real money on this type shit. Um,
Cool.
so let's go through our locks of the week from last week. Let's get into that before we get into the trade deadline. So pretty good week for us last week, locks of the week. One of the games we had was this game this week, so we didn't add that one. So we only had really two games going on, both NBA games. You had Mavs -4.5 against the New Orleans Pelicans. That one hit. Mavs win by 5, so you got lucky by a point there. 111 to 106, the final. And then you kind of got robbed on the other side. You had the Heat -2 against the Knicks. Well, the Knicks won by 2, 106-104 on a last-second shot. So no dice on that one. But I got robbed as well because I had the Lakers -3 against the Pacers, and that came down to Dennis Schroeder laying it up with a minute to go to give LA a 1-point win. So I lost that one. They only win by 112-111. But I did get my Nuggets win against Golden State. They were 12-point favorites against Golden State.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm taking it. And they ended up winning 134 to 117. So they got a 17-point win. Denver looking good. And they added Reggie Jackson. It's official now. So, I mean, we're getting some pieces together. And so we end up going 1-1 both. Both of us go 1-1.
Not bad.
Let's go ahead and go through games happening tomorrow because there's no NBA tonight. This is a day completely dedicated towards NFL football, and as it rightfully should be. So I'm going to give you some games here, and I'll let you pick some. So we've got Golden State and the Wizards. We've got the Mavericks and the Timberwolves, Thunder, Pelicans, Bulls, Magic, Knicks, Nets, Hawks, Hornets, and Cavs, Spurs tomorrow for your Monday night slate.
I really like that. I think Golden State's definitely going to rebound or get a win back for sure. So I like them winning that one.
They're favored by 3. I think it's a pretty good, bet there. So we'll go Golden State -3 against Washington for you. I'll go ahead and pick mine. I will go ahead and I'll pick my first one. I'm gonna go with the Spurs +14.5 against the Cavs. I think that's a really big line for the Cavs to cover. I mean, the Spurs are god awful, but I think they keep it within 15 points. I think they can keep it to a 13, 12-point loss. I think it happened. All right. So what do you want as your second game? I've got Hornets, Hawks, Nets, Knicks, Magic, Bulls, Thunder, Pelicans, Timberwolves, Mavericks.
What do you take the Thunder against the Pelicans? I like that.
Thunder are 1-point favorites against the Pelicans.
I like it.
Okay,
let's take care of the Pelicans.
Let's take it. Let's take that one. My last one, I think I'm going to take the Knicks -2.5 against the Nets. The Nets are destroyed now, so I think that's kind of. I mean, I like Spencer Dinwiddie a lot, but I like Mikal Bridges a lot, but not that much. Give me Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, and Josh Hart.
Fair enough.
So those are our locks of the week. Lock them in. Our other one is Philadelphia -1.5. That's the one we're taking. Lock it in. Fly Eagles fly. Cole is now 22-28. I am now 26-24. No percentage-wise change as we go 500 over the week, but a chance here to regain some confidence in our picking abilities. But we didn't lose those games by a lot either. We got gypped by less than 3 points.
That was really close.
So we weren't doing bad, folks. We're still doing all right. So let's go over this trade deadline stuff, man. This is really what I've been itching to get into. Huge stuff
crazy.
Going on. Let's start out with the big stuff, right? Kevin Durant, right? We won't start with him, but he's a good piece to this. Let's start with Kyrie. Kyrie's the first piece to move, kind of, that had big name added. He asked for a trade to get out of Brooklyn. Brooklyn goes ahead and, says, fine, let's do it. They ship him off to Dallas to go team up with Luka. I mean, that was kind of a big thing for them, and you get Spencer Dinwiddie from Dallas, and you get some other pieces along with that. We had 15 total trades. What was your thought on Kyrie joining Dallas, and do you think that makes Dallas a better team or a worse team?
Definitely better. I mean, I really like this piece. I'm curious to see how what the chemistry is like between them. I mean, Kyrie's been hooping though. Kyrie's really been playing well, and I'm excited to see him get back out there with Luca. But I mean, I think they still need a big man to be a championship level team. They need that center or power forward. They need somebody big because I don't really know. I know who they have, but I don't think he's the right guy. They just need bigger, like a well-known big man out there to pair up with those three. And then I think there will be a championship team. But I think they are going to be a problem in the West still. So I mean, I definitely think it's a great ad. Excited to see them out there together.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how the top two most ball dominant players in the NBA get along.
Yeah,
I think there could be a lot of good to come from this because you have a situation where teams can't double team Luca anymore because you have Kyrie open and vice versa. I think it'll make
yeah,
their offense pretty good, but the defense is going to suffer. And I
yeah.
think
Who's
that
going to play
yeah,
defense?
and I think that's going to be. I mean, this team's going to have to go and score 140 points every night if they're going to do anything. It
Yeah,
could happen, but it's just not. It's not really a consistent. I mean, does it make them more dangerous in the playoffs? Yes. I think when you have two guys like that are obviously all stars and really good at basketball, I think you're going to have that upside. But I don't think it takes them. It might take them to the conference finals if they're lucky, but they're going to need some help. I think it gets them
yeah.
past the first round for sure.
Mhm.
Depending on who they draw, I mean, it could be Mavs Memphis, and that could be wild because I think Memphis is the better team in
Yeah,
that
Memphis has
scenario.
that.
I mean, they might not have as many stars now, but they are definitely the better team basketball team. So that was interesting. But I think I agree. I think it makes them a better team. Second big trade, Kevin Durant, right? Goes out to
Yep.
Phoenix. Um, uh, the Suns acquire Kevin Durant and T.J. Warren from Brooklyn. The Nets acquire Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and the Suns' 2023 first round pick, the 2025 first round pick, 2029
Mhm.
first round pick, 2027
Wow.
first round pick, and the right to swap round picks with the Suns in 2028. The Bucks, they have the Bucks
Wow.
2028 second round pick and the Bucks 2029 second round pick and the rights to Juan Pablo Valle from the Pacers. So a lot of moving
That's
pieces there to
crazy.
get Durant out there. The Bucks in this because you heard their name with draft picks. They're involved. Jay Crowder goes to the Bucks, um, which could be the missing piece that they need. The Pacers they don't really require much. They get George Hill and Serge Ibaka, and either the Bucks 2023 second round pick or at least favorable of the Cavaliers and Warriors 2023 second round picks, whichever is more favorable. The Bucks 2024 second round pick and the Pacers uh, get a 2025 second round pick from the Bucks and cash from the Nets as well
Wow.
as George Hill, Serge Ibaka, and Jordan Nwora. So those
That
are
is a lot.
so the Pacers kind of get involved in this as well. Um, with all these teams making moves. There's three Western Conference teams that swap point guards. The Lakers acquired D'Angelo Russell and Malik
Mhm.
Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt. The Timberwolves got Mike Conley and Nikhil Alexander Walker, and they've got either the Wizards or the Grizzlies 2024 second round pick, um, and the Jazz's 2025 second round pick and their 2026 second round pick because the Jazz got Russell Westbrook, Damian Jones, and Juan Toscano Anderson or JTA, and the Lakers 2027 first round pick, um, which is a top four protected pick. So a lottery pick is what the Jazz got as well. Of course, Russell Westbrook, they bought him out. He's not going to be a member of the Jazz. He's still kind of floating around. He hasn't really done anything to our knowledge right now. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right here. And just kind of tell me what Kevin Durant brings to the table for Phoenix and how they can.
I mean, he's an elite scorer, so I mean, they're going to be scoring. But same problem with Dallas. Who's playing defense for Phoenix? Like, I think what was traded Cam? Wasn't he the second the runner up player of the year last year? So I'm
Cam
like,
Johnson, yeah,
who's
I think so.
yeah, who's playing defense in Phoenix now? Like you were saying, like they're gonna have to score like 130, 140 a night. But I mean, they're gonna be an explosive offense with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and Kevin Durant. Like that's
And,
you got
and,
a lot
and,
of
and don't and
shooters,
don't
and
forget
then
about the big guy DeAndre Ayton down low as well.
yeah, and DeAndre Ayton as well. So they got a good team, definitely, definitely. Like it's gonna be some good scoring. Got some shooters, and Chris Paul might finally get him one. But I mean, playing defense in Phoenix?
Yeah, who's playing defense is right. I think I agree. I think this obviously gives them another weapon to work with. I mean, look, Kevin Durant's like 34 years old. Like the dude's not. I mean, this is his prime right now, towards the end. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen the injuries stack up. We've seen, as you said, the defense get a little sloppy. Um,
Mhm.
can't move those feet as quick. But I mean, the Suns really get a lot for. Sorry, the Nets really did get a lot for this. They got a lot of the Suns picks for like the next 7 years.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of stuff going on with that. I mean, Mikal Bridges is not a bad player. You got Spencer Dinwiddie from Dallas with that trade with Kyrie Irving, so you've got some pieces there.
Yeah.
The Bucks requiring Jay Crowder. Do you think that's going to improve their chances of getting out of the East? I mean, he's not a super elite guy, but he kind of brings that
Yeah.
that defensive mentality, and he can shoot the three occasionally.
Yeah. It'll,
Um,
it'll definitely help them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Jack was very high on Jay Crowder going to the Bucks. He was like, "That's the missing piece they need, brother." And I didn't. I mean, he says some crazy shit, but I mean, like, I think that a lot of people might think that Jay does kind of add more than subtract from Milwaukee as far as their potency when it comes to the postseason.
I'd say it definitely adds for sure.
What do you think about D'Angelo Russell going back to LA? Right, he leaves LA. He wanted to get out of there, comes back. Um, and it kind of was, this three team thing where the Jazz
Mhm.
sent Mike Conley to the Timberwolves, and then the Jazz got Russell Westbrook, Damian Jones, and Juan Toscano Anderson. And I think that was kind of I mean they're blowing it up, right? I mean, what happened to Russell and LeBron and AD getting it done? I mean, it just seemed
Yeah.
like they felt like it just wasn't going in the right direction, and so maybe bringing D'Angelo Russell helps. I mean, what do you think? Are the Lakers tanking now? Like, what's the deal?
I don't think he's gonna do anything crazy. I mean,
There, I mean, he's going to do better than what Russell Westbrook was doing out there. I mean, I don't think he had any chemistry whatsoever with them at all. So I think he'll do a better job than Russ because he wasn't doing very good out there. I just don't think he was meshing well with those players.
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was having fun. The only one that was probably playing hard. I mean, it was what it
Yeah,
seemed like at times. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see where Russ ends up. The Nuggets also land.
Russ to LA
What? Yeah, Russ
Clippers.
back to the
Russ to
Clippers.
LA.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing. The Raptors reacquire their 2016 lottery pick. They picked Jacob Podol in that top five in 2016. He hadn't really panned out. They get him back. The Spurs acquire Kem Birch and the Raptors' first round 2024 pick, which is a top six pick that's protected. And they get the
Nice.
Raptors' 2023 second round pick and their second round pick in 2025 as well. So got some good pieces for him. He's not bad, he's just not great. The
Mm,
Nuggets land a backup center while the Clippers roll the dice on a young scorer in a four-team trade. So the four teams involved: Magic, Lakers, Nuggets, and Clippers here. The Clippers acquire Bones Highland. The Nuggets get Thomas Bryant from the Lakers, and the Lakers acquire Mo Bamba and Devin Reed, and they also get the Clippers 2024 second round pick and their second round pick in 2025 as well. And the Magic, they get
nice.
Patrick Beverly from the Lakers, and they get
Nice.
the Nuggets second round pick in 2024 and some cash from LA. So I mean, none of these trades really, make my ears perk up. I think this is just kind of clearing the books for bigger things down the line. Eric Gordon got out of Houston, and he's going
Nice.
to
Happy about
Memphis too. So he's going to a contending team, and I think he adds a piece to Memphis that they need: another consistent 3-point shooter. I don't think Desmond Bain is enough. I don't think John Morant is enough. I think that's exactly what they needed was Eric Gordon. And that could really help them out. The Grizzlies also get
yeah.
Luke Kennard, and the Rockets the Rockets get Danny Green and they get John Wall back, but John Wall has been bought out from the Rockets. He's going to be on the move. He's not going to be staying
I
in
figured.
Houston.
I
Um,
figured.
so that was kind of another thing that happened. Anything you have to say about any of that movement?
I knew John Wall was getting out of Houston for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Sixers and
Did his
Blazers.
time there.
The Sixers, Blazers, and the Sixers swap forwards in a four-team trade. So the Sixers uh, they acquire Jalen McDaniels, and the Knicks 2024 second round pick from the Hornets. The Hornets get Svi Mikhailuk, um, and either the Hornets, Hawks, or Nets 2023 second round pick, whichever one is more favorable for them. And same thing with 2027. The Trailblazers, they get Matisse Thybulle, Cam Reddish, Ryan Arkadakanono. I don't know what the hell that name is.
Wow.
The Knicks first round in 2023, which is a top 14 pick, and the draft rights to Ante Tomic from the Knicks. The Knicks get Josh Hart and Bojan Dublejevic from the Blazers, and the draft rights to Daniel Diaz as well from the Trailblazers. The biggest thing on here is just Josh Hart going to the Knicks. I think it's a good piece for them. Yeah. I don't think any of these other players really help or hurt the teams that they went to. The Warriors, they move on from James Wiseman and send him to Detroit. The Trailblazers acquire Kevin Knox as well from the Warriors, and the Hawks require Sadiq Bey. But the Warriors get Gary Payton II, so they got Gary Payton II coming. They got him back. They had him in that title run against the Suns 2 years ago. They get him back. Maybe they feel like he's kind of something they need to get where they need to go. The Clippers, they acquire Mason Plumlee, and the Hornets get Reggie Jackson. But as of now, Reggie Jackson got bought out, and he has signed with the Denver Nuggets. So that was kind of the move, though. Clippers getting Mason Plumlee doesn't really do anything for me either. Pelicans acquired Josh Richardson, and the Spurs get Devontae Graham. I mean, solid players, not great. The Thunder sent Mike Muscala, the big moose on the move. He's going to Boston to go play with the Celtics, but the Thunder acquired Justin Jackson. I think it's a good pickup for the Thunder. He's above average, Kansas alum, pretty good player.
We'll take him.
Yeah, and the Suns get Darius Baisley. Have fun. But Darius may be going deep in the playoffs, so good for him. Thunder get Dario Saric from Phoenix and a 2029 second round pick. So again, the Thunder just farming picks, picking up guys that are kind of veteran players, kind of older. Saric is a good player. Justin Jackson's a good player. It'll help this team, and it might get him to the play-in game. The Rockets acquired Justin Holiday and Frank Kaminsky from the Thunder's 2024 second round pick and the Thunder's 2025 second round pick. Now it's important these are second round picks because we know how the value of players decreases from first round to second round pretty drastically these days. For the most part, the Hawks acquire Garrison Matthews and Bruno Fernando. Don't know who those guys are, so that tells you that. But that's kind of the recap here. I mean, really, other than those two big moves, just some pieces getting moved around. Not a lot, just some role guys, right? These are a lot of role guys. I mean, overall, 49 players moved, during the trade deadline. 49. That's a lot of movement. But a lot of those are not big
Definitely
names.
A lot of movement.
A lot of those are not big names, and that's okay because they don't need to be. But yeah, that's kind of the recap. Anything else to say before we get out of here? I mean, good episode.
No, yeah, definitely. Those are mainly the two pieces, just Kyrie and Kevin Durant. But everybody else, smaller names. But yeah, so some good trades throughout the league. Should be exciting.
Yeah,
playoff time.
Yeah, and March 24th, we'll get to see Phoenix play Dallas.
About that.
So strap in. Strap in. All right. I will see you later. And remember, guys, keep a stick on the ice. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday.
Fly, Eagles, fly.